Hello. Yeah, it is
And we
live.
are live.
We will discuss later. Yeah, we are live. So, good evening. Check the YouTube once the link is posted on the Metamorphosis. Okay. So, good evening, everyone. We are live on Metamorphosis, and again, this uh, session is a remarkable session creating milestone learning for early childhood development and how education and beyond is creating kind of a learning journey for all the educators across the globe. We are in this mission of creating milestone learning through early years education with global experts and educators across the globe. So before I just start on my session, I would like everyone to first consider this. When selecting an ideal school for your child, it is crucial to carefully consider diversity and equal opportunities. Inclusive schools embrace diversity, providing equal opportunities for students of all abilities, backgrounds, and learning styles. Number two is social development. Inclusive education promotes positive social interactions among students with varying abilities. It helps break down the stereotypes and fosters understanding, empathy, and tolerance from an early age. Number three is preparation for the real and the future world. Inclusive schools reflect the diversity of the real world. Students learn to collaborate with individuals of different abilities, which prepares them for a society where diversity is the norm. Number four is personalized learning. In an inclusive setting, educators often adopt varied teaching methods to accommodate diverse learning needs. This kind of an approach benefits all students, not just those with specific needs, creating a more effective learning environment. Number five is positive impact on individuals with disabilities. Inclusive education can lead to better outcomes for students with disabilities. It promotes their participation in mainstream society and helps break down the societal barriers. Number six is promotion of a supportive environment. Inclusive schools often foster a culture of support and understanding. Students learn to appreciate differences and celebrate diversity, creating a more tolerant and an open minded learning community where educators are on a mission to empower educators through their experiences and learning. Overall, inclusive education is considered essential for creating a fair, supportive, and enriching learning environment that benefits not only individuals with specific needs, but the entire student body. So here we are, and before I proceed further, I would like the technical help to just show the song of video of Metamorphosis.
अगर कोई कर सकता है तो मैं क्यों नहीं, क्या है उनमें ऐसा जो मुझ में नहीं। अगर कोई कर सकता है तो मैं क्यों नहीं, क्या है उनमें ऐसा जो मुझ में नहीं। झांक ले अपने भीतर खुद से आ पूछ ले, कैसी चाहे जिंदगी खुली आंखों से देख ले। मुट्ठियों को खींच गए, सांसों को खींच गए, मुट्ठियों को खींच गए, सांसों को खींच गए। सबसे टकराने को, शिखर पर जाने को मैं तैयार हूँ, मैं तैयार हूँ, मैं तैयार हूँ, मैं तैयार हूँ। मैं तैयार हूँ, मैं तैयार हूँ, मैं तैयार हूँ। मुश्किलें हो कैसी भी मेरे हौसलों से कम है, अंधेरों को चीर देंगे इतना दम है। मुश्किलें हो कैसी भी मेरे हौसलों से कम है, अंधेरों को चीर देंगे इतना दम है। आओ हाथ बढ़ाए, कुछ करके दिखाना है, सारे बहानों को आज से आग लगाना है, मुट्ठियों को भींच गए, सांसों को खींच गए, मुट्ठियों को भींच गए, सांसों को।
Thank you, Lalita. You can make me the host. Thank you so much. Yeah. So as we proceed further for the session ahead, so before I call my first speaker on the stage, I would like to share a few words. Education should be a beacon that ignites a love for learning in every child. Sadly, it often snuffs out that flame. Yet, the investment in cultivating a genuine passion for knowledge is invaluable. A child's journey is immensely enriched when they embrace the joy of learning. Let us foster that spark. Let us foster that beautiful learning environment for everyone over here, for the children, for the educators across the globe, and for humanity in general. So, before I go, I would like to call my uh, educator, speaker, Rania Lampu ma'am, and she will share her knowledge of intercultural learning across borders and across seven seas. How and what is the topic of today's? Welcome, Rania ma'am.
Greetings from Greece to everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Sonal, for giving me this opportunity to participate actively in this wonderful platform, full of wisdom and full of very original topics, always on pioneering and creative discussions and debates. Thank you so much, Metamorphosis Group, and all team members that are doing actually incredible work in the field of education in order to promote quality education for all. So actually, my topic today will be about bilingualism in early childhood education. You know that Nelson Mandela thought that by speaking to someone in his first language, the message would go to his heart, and the second would go to the head. Many centuries earlier, Charlemagne, who spoke French and Latin and understood classical Greek, said that knowing another language is like having a second soul. Even it's more exaggerated, we could say, but is there any truth to this? And to what extent are our emotional reactions, for instance, different in the first and second language? First of all, I want to say that foreign language as a social marker is something that affects the way in which others see us. A second language has an impact on how we make decisions about other people, and children tend to use the language spoken by others to define the social circles. So it's important first to keep in mind that becoming a speaker of two or more languages is a process in which environmental and biological factors play an important role. And of course, there is a biological predisposition to learn multiple languages, but we need also an ideal environment for this to happen. So educators are responsible for this. When we talk about bilingualism, this occurs when a person is able to use two languages, not only in the same modality, but also when mixing them. Studying bilingualism proves to be a unique opportunity at the same time to examine here all the neurobiological basis that of learning a new information, of learning a new language, and this likely predisposition to learn multiple languages. The first question is, people say, is earlier better? So are the preschoolers more likely to learn easier second language? So many people here are familiar with the concept of what we call a critical period for language acquisition. The idea that humans are not too capable of mastering a new language after reaching a certain age. Researchers disagree about whether a critical period exists at all, but they disagree also when this critical period may occur. There are some proposals which range from age 5 to 15. So there are some disagreements there, but what is certainly has been proved by neuroscience is that our brains may be more receptive to language earlier in life. And our environment also is more conducive to language learning earlier in life. So in many cultures and many families, young children experience a very rich language environment during the first years of life. They hear, for instance, language in attention grabbing, or their caregivers typically speak in ways that neither too simple nor too complex, and children also sometimes they spend hours and hours of practice with language every day. So this high quality and high quantity experience with language often results in successful language learning. And it gives, of course, the children diverse, rich, and engaging opportunities to learn about the sounds, about the syllables, about the words, about the phrases and sentences that comprise the native language. But beyond the first years of life, second language learning often happens very differently. We know, for instance, that older children and adults do not usually have the same amount of time to devote to language learning, and they do not usually experience the advantage of fun of constant one-to-one interaction with native speakers. So research actually has shown that bilingualism is very advantageous for the development of children, especially for toddlers and preschoolers. Children who are exposed to different languages can easily perceive and understand different cultures and people. So this way they can familiarize themselves with different ways of thinking and understand more easily the opinion of others. And also it has been scientifically proven that bilingual children tend to perform better on what we call multitask tests, and they have better attention. They are often better at reading, and they generally learn foreign languages more easily. So they say that bilingualism makes actually brains children smarter. Of course, there are the obvious advantages that bilingual children will know multiple languages, which is important for travel, for employment, for speaking with members of other social circles, to maintain connections with cultures, making friends from different backgrounds. But beyond these obvious linguistic benefits, researchers have actually investigated whether bilingualism confers other non-linguistic advantages. So the first one is that I talked about attention. Another thing is that helps children when it comes to social understanding. Bilinguals can navigate a complex social world where different people can have different language knowledge. So in this way, they say that bilingual preschoolers seem to have better skills than monolinguals in understanding others' perspectives and thoughts and desires and intention. And they also have increased sensitivity to certain characteristics of communication, such as, for instance, a tone of voice. And furthermore, bilinguals also show some cognitive advantages. For instance, they appear to perform a little better on tasks that involve switching between activities and inhibiting previously learned responses. This has to do with code switching when we use whatever the first language or second language. And also, they say that the memory also is increased on the brain of bilinguals. So bilingual, this way, when these children grow up, bilingual adults have to regularly switch back and forth between the languages and inhibit one language while they selectively speak another. And some researchers say that this constant practice might actually lead to certain advantages by training the brain. So speaking more than one language may provide to the bilingual brain cognitive advantages that last into old age. This has to do, first of all, with the concept of neuroplasticity, the brain's changing form, which is crucial to understand the bilingual brain. Childhood is the crucial time when the brain is sculpted by its language environment because of its immaturity. This means that children may acquire languages so easily because their brains aren't yet completely formed. The more intensive utilization of neural networks in the bilingual brain is highlighted, we know about neuroimaging. So there is this ongoing debate about for researchers, but what they have, what is the main conclusion is that actually the brain of bilinguals is smarter and that it has different neural connections. Whatever this has to do with bilingual switching, I mentioned before, better attention, better social understanding, better memory, and empathy. I forgot to say this because they have a better perspective taking is the act of perceiving situation for understanding a concept from an alternative point of view, a better theory of mind. And of course, many opportunities, we talk about academic opportunities, decrease and resistance to the media because they see that bilingual people have less possibilities to get affected by Alzheimer. Of course, cross-cultural appreciation, increased economic opportunities, and what we call improvement to brain's executive functions such as attention. So multilinguals can have different, we could say, personalities in different languages. People who are fluent in more than one language often describe feeling like different people in each of them. As distinct aspects of the personality come through stronger depending on which language is being used. This happens, for instance, I'm a French language teacher. I also I have a bachelor degree in French language. So when I speak French, I feel like another person. I change personality, so I can confirm this from my own experience. Another thing is that the multilingual brain processes every language everywhere all the time. In parallel, that means that the brain here processes all languages in parallel, keeping them co-activated all the time. So that's why bilingual brains have more pathways connecting different words, concepts, and memories across different languages. And this means that multilinguals are more creative, they have more divergent thinking than monolinguals. They're doing these more connections hardwired in our brain through different languages, different cultures. So they perform better on many creativity, divergent thinking tasks. And memories are stored and recalled differently in a bilingual or a bilingual brain. I mentioned before, learning a different language definitely can help our brain age better. If you see the neuroimages, this shows that, for instance, the gray matter, which is denser, and the white matter in the brain, as the brain ages, it's denser. So it has been proven that this helps with dementia, with Alzheimer, and with the brain which ages. So differences in neural structures and connections have clearly emerged between monolinguals and bilinguals. So all this, of course, I mentioned before, have to do with neuroplasticity of the brain. So what we can do is to encourage bilingualism at an early age. Already here in Greece, we have introduced English in preschool age. This happened, I think, 2 years before, very recently. So this is first one is to encourage through different activities, and of course. There are some myths about bilingualism. I want to say about the code switching. I mean, for many years there were debates if using a second language should be penalized or not. Using the first language when we learn a second foreign language should be penalized or not. And nowadays, of course, this is a myth. There's misconception. Code switching is absolutely normal for the brain. So we could say that the first language, the second language are controlled by the same central processing system because bilinguals are endowed with a common underlying proficiency. And this happens irrespectively of the language one speaks or writes. His thinking may be in another language. So all this can happen together. So code switching is a central communicative practice. So what we do is enhance bilingualism through curriculum through updated curriculum, through the integration, of course, of cross-curricular topics, of multicultural issues, of how we design the material, how we design our activities, how we motivate, because in all bilingual stages, it's important to try and make students speak in the foreign language from the beginning. So, for instance, when students commit mistakes that impede the transmission of information, they should be asked to repeat. So motivation is important, and sustainable living, as we say. Strategically, of course, strategies group works. What I have seen from my experience, I mean, as teachers, we can form structures, groups, and we need to take consideration, for instance, while homogeneous groups enable teachers to adapt particular learning objectives to students with different requirements, heterogeneous groups give students the opportunity to experience communicating and working across languages and cultures. So the first one is how we will form these groups, homogeneous or heterogeneous. And second, that teachers can construct group projects that give students structured and unstructured opportunities to utilize their languages. So in the classroom, this could be an activity requiring students, for instance, to use a formal language to arrange a group project, using, for instance, a structured mind map, or to interview peers or gather information for this project. Second one, as a strategy, the very, very important, is that we need to support home language of especially emerging bilingual children. For instance, we can send a home questionnaire or conduct a family interview to learn more about the home languages of the students. Of course, if we want to help more the children establish connections between their second language and the mother tongue, we can, as teachers, we can become informed about, for instance, the cognates, the words that in two languages that sound similar, they have comparable meanings. We can ask members of the community, of school staff, of members of the family to participate in cultural activities like reading or singing or helping to identify school supplies in the students' native tongues. There are many, many ways in order that we can enhance bilingualism, of course, to train teachers in this. Given, of course, students a lot of practice, they need to know how the activity works, what is their role in the group work, what's the objective of these activities, and to promote students to new roles as the language skills improve. So I think that learning, of course, this requires language policies that can outline how to support bilingual learners. Every school will have its own language profile. So it is important that this is reflected in a policy that recognizes the language needs of different groups of learners and teachers. So thank you very much for your attention. And for any question, I'm here to discuss.
Yeah, it was a pleasure listening to you, Rania ma'am. So my question to you is that since we started the session with the inclusive environment and inclusive diversity learners and all, so when we talk about the bilingualism and inculcating a bilingual environment for making learning easier for children, can you just share one or two strategies that can be used for these children who are not able to understand in one language, and what kind of a bilingual strategy can be used? Any one or two examples?
Yes. For instance, here in Greece, we have created a project which is called My First Bilingual Project. So we ask students to create an album, actually, where they have added some photos. They have written essays in both their mother tongue and in second language. In general, what I said before, it has to do with the strategies have to do with group working. Heterogeneous, I think it's better. Heterogeneous groups, and what I said about home language, I mean, collaborate with parents, because there are many children, for instance, we talk about refugees are coming and they don't know at all English language. So there's no case that we can communicate with children at all. English language is not taken for granted. They don't know, for instance, Albania language and nothing else. So there are many challenges. That's why collaboration with the parents, it's important to conduct interviews, to give them a questionnaire, so to have first a clear image, a clear picture of what is the state of the language. And after, if we have students who can actually are bilingual, then we can play with many multicultural activities. Integrate cross-curricular topics, multicultural issues. That could be through the help of arts. It could be theater, it could be peace, it could be poetry, it could be literature. Arts help a lot in order to promote different cultures or transitions. Because bilingualism should start from this: be open and tolerant to different languages and different perspectives. And that's why they say it has been proved scientifically, as I said before, through neuroimages, that bilinguals can perform, of course, better in some executive functions, attention, memory, but also they have developed a more what we call perspective taking. So the act of taking into consideration the other and alternative options, the perspective of others, to be open, to be tolerant, and the theory of mind. So this was started from multicultural activities, and then they cultivate language more. But I want to see this because I'm saying that I have also a bachelor in the French language, and I was for many years I was teaching French language. If you learn, the earlier children learn a foreign language, the best. Especially we talk about speaking and listening. I have seen that teenagers are struggling. When teenagers start learning, for instance, English, they don't have the same good pronunciation as children in the early primary school. I'm very absolute on this. The earlier, the better, because they absorb easier, the brain absorb the sounds, absorb the pronunciation, so they can speak better, and they can listen better, and they can communicate better. So what happened here in Greek ministry, which introduced actually English language in the preschool age, I'm very happy with this. It was a great reform.
Wonderful. It was really a pleasure. And this is what we call as intercultural learning, because some strategies which are not there in India, we learn from global educators across the globe, and here we can implement them. So it's a kind of a global exchange of learning and a healthy community of learning across borders also. So thank you, Rania ma'am. And I think Rania ma'am is going to make a leave after her speech. Anyone has any questions to ask Rania ma'am? They are open to ask her. Anyone wishes to ask anything to Rania ma'am before we proceed to the next one? Anyone? So I think you have satisfied the learning hunger of everyone in all the packages. So thank you so much, Rania ma'am, for being here. And it is always a pleasure for us Metamorphosis members to have you always taking the initiative and being a part of this wonderful family. Thank you, Rania ma'am. I will respect to you.
Thank you. Bye.
So moving on to my next speaker, I would like to call Nahid Raja sir. He's a principal in North. So welcome Nahid sir on this platform. And over to you with your speech.
Rania ma'am is spoken wonderfully, right? And she always speaks on the point, at the point. I appreciate her talk. And my sincere gratitude to Sonal ma'am. She gives us a platform. She has been working very, very hard. And she has very good concepts, and she is very disciplined. I appreciate it. So given my topic, I am Nahid Raza. I am principal of Acme School of Learning. My school is located in Uttar Pradesh. I am from Uttarakhand, right? So today topic given to me is active learning. Active learning. So first of all, what should we do? School should be welcoming. We should be welcoming. We should be cordial. We should be social, because children are modeling. Children will see us and emulate us. Whatever teaching means, literacy comes second. First is social skill. First of all, educators. So what should we do to create good atmosphere, a good environment in the class, in the school, right? So school walls should be welcoming, classroom must be welcoming, and we should design seating arrangement in such a manner that all children have space to move, to talk, to converse with each other, so that they feel freedom. They should not feel imprisoned in school. They should not feel traumatized in school. They should feel loved in school, respected in school, welcoming in school, right? And they are received with immense love, that too unconditionally. Teachers must approach them time and again. In the same manner, teachers must be approachable. Children could approach teacher the way they want, the time they want, right? So when communication is open, when children are not hesitant, children are not scared, children are not traumatized, they feel better, they feel happy. When children are happy, learning will be active automatically, because children are happy, they are coming to learn, they are leaving their homes. Generally what happens, they are rushing towards home. So we should try to reverse it. They should rush towards school, they should rush towards teachers, they should rush towards peers. And furniture should be such, right? And we, first of all, as a administrator of a school, as edu leaders of a school, we should have smiling faces, right? We should have welcoming nature, right? So we need to narrate stories, right? And children should be participant. They should have role play. They should modulate their voice. When these things are happening, they feel very much engaged, and they feel happy that yes, we are achieving. They feel that they are achieving something or the other. Right? And pulses should be applied, because pulses are colorful. They should sort them out, right? And children should be uh, appreciated in this process. When processes are good, when processes are small, understandable, and simple, children feel respected again, because they feel loved. They feel that yes, they are doing, because when they are moving, when they're active, so their 18% learning is more, because blood circulation is better, right? Musical movements, music could be played, children all of a sudden it should be stopped, and children should be stopped. They will have proper synchronization, right? And you see, all children would be smiling. When they smile, the world smiles. We should carry them towards field where swings are there, see different plants are there, birds are coming, right? They are able to see clouds, so they will have proper sense of colors, proper sense of things happening around, and they will come to know nature, and they can walk, because in CBSE schools are of 2 acres, right? So they will observe and anything and everything, and you can ask them, and they would be telling they would be expressing. So they must be heard, listened to. Playdown is there. They could create lot many shapes, right? So they will have confidence, right? And they will feel no, they are achieving, and we should try to celebrate their achievements. And motor skills would also be developing, fine motor skills would also be developing, right? In the same manner, whatever we are using in the class, counting must be carried out with that. So they develop numeracy skills. Everyday objects could be used for counting. In the same manner, sorting is there. Sorting is there. Both of the hemispheres of brain are active, as Mem was studying in bilingualism, right? Explore animal sounds, movements, characteristics, right? And this should be the part of the curriculum. This should, but it must be in the routine, right? Simon said, please sit down, create a train drill, duck the goose, musical games. So lot many things are there to making children active, right? So, and when children are active, teachers will feel happy, and we should be children among children. That is all. The active learning will definitely be taking place, automatically be taking place. And first of all, we should love children unconditionally. So my sincere gratitude to Sonal ma'am. She always gives platform. She has been working very, very hard, because to run a platform is very difficult. Timing is there, people are coming, going, switching on, switching off, and the network issues are there. So my sincere gratitude and ma'am, salutation to ma'am, that she has been doing wonderfully. So my thank you, thank you, thank you
My
everyone for
respect
listening.
to you, sir, from Metamorphosis family. You always taking the lead, and there are some very few members who are always taking the lead. Whenever I approach them, they never say no. No matter whatever the challenges, no matter whatever the hardship, whether you're on the road, stuck in the traffic, they are always there, rushing home. And anyhow, okay, we must make it, no matter even if we are just present for 5 minutes also. And that is what we need to teach the children also, because if we keep our mind stable, we only then we can give out to the society in a stable way. So thank you to you from all of us for always being there and creating more milestone learnings. And my question to you, sir, is since you are in the North State, and when we talk about Rania ma'am's topic, bilingualism, what kind of challenges do you think the teachers face when the children don't understand the basic nuances of the day-to-day learning?
I'm very lucky to have outstanding teachers in my school, and my management supports me a lot. All children are able to understand English, because the English environment is such. And we teachers have autonomy. I never interfere, ma'am. Right? And we appreciate children, we love children, right? And we give proper respect. Children should play the way they want, whenever they want to have lunch, they can have, right? And there is no raising voice, right? I do not raise my voice against teachers. Oh, teachers are not in stress, right? So they are not raising their voice in front of children. That is very simple. So love and affection, respect, because empathy above all. And we are, when we are respecting children, no, and teachers and our colleagues, so everything is happening very well, right? And I want the teach the simplest way. We are not writing a PhD thesis and going to compete in any exam, right? So very simple, have connect one to one, and right, keep on developing the language. This is the scenario, and many of the things and many of the means problems are sorted out automatically themselves.
Wonderful, sir. So my next question to you, sir, is since we spoke about catering to the children, so now I will ask you on the perspective of catering to educators, you being in the lead role of a principal. If you find any teacher who is not able to communicate in a proper English or in any kind of other language, because children come from diverse sectors. Some may understand English, some may not, some want regional languages. So when the teachers are not able to communicate in the way that is actually needed in the society, okay, when some management people say, नहीं आपको English में ही बोलना है, and sometimes situations compel us that a child is not able to understand English, and the child is not able to understand any other language other than English. And the teachers are not on par on communicating in English to the child. Do you demoralize the teachers behind the curtains, or do you encourage them? What is your take on this?
Very, very, very good question. Right. So since we are, see, ma'am, we are conducting interviews, oral communication is there. I make them write an article on teaching of the teaching tiny tots, right? So many things come out. I have fixed a whiteboard. I have fixed a whiteboard in my office, right?
Okay,
I
wonderful.
explain very slowly, properly, because it is my duty to train teachers.
Definitely.
If teachers are untrained, what is my use? Because I'm mentor also, I'm guide also, right? I am their parent also. And we are loving children unconditionally. We should love staff also unconditionally. No, we cannot declutter, you go from here, what are you doing this, and then nothing. Right? It is my duty to train teachers, right, ma'am? Actually, I went to Hyderabad, no, this Microsoft office, right? I saw there these things were happening, ma'am. When you are spreading positivity, no, reciprocation, that influence. Dr. Cianedi has written that influence. How can you influence people? When you give them autonomy, when you respect them, so it automatically comes to know. So things are very easy. We are complicating, ma'am. Communication with teacher is very easy, right? I want to catch my teachers working hard, right, doing well, and when they are not working, no, so I do not go to that place. So automatically thing is such. And moreover, I am generally taking round not to catch teachers, to motivate the students. I welcome students. I when they go home, I'm standing there. I'm always with teachers. And major problems I want to support, I write down notice myself. I generally help them. That because I am a problem solver. I'm not problem creator. So thank you very much, ma'am. Very
Wonderful, sir.
good question.
Yeah, my putting forward this question to you is to create an awareness to people that if you are not on par with any kind of a language, definitely you will lead that person in some time of a life. Like, for example, I might need Marine ma'am's help sometime in life because I don't know Arabic, I don't know the languages that come over there. That just come a time in life that you will definitely need a person. You may not be having a cordial relations, but just because of minor disagreements, you create a relationship and you start creating misunderstanding. So when I say I'm not good in Hindi, I can't type in Hindi because I have to change the phone settings and everything, and it's a long process. So I have to rely on people who speak in English and they are on par. So that time we should be very careful that you never know that you might need that person anytime, whether you are in a high authority position or whether you are in a teaching profession. When you call teaching as a noble profession, I think each and every human being should be taken in a very noble way because there just come a time in life that you may need a person's help. And it's no shame taking anybody's help. I always say that. It's no shame. We all here to connect with each other, to take help from each other, to learn and unlearn, as we say, in a very practical way. So thank you, sir, for sharing your knowledge, your expertise, and definitely more and more sessions ahead coming over. And gratitude to you for always being there. So moving on to my international speaker, I would like to invite Marine ma'am from South Africa, a very esteemed member of Metamorphosis. Welcome, Marine ma'am. Over to you with your topic and expertise and lovely words from you.
Thank you so much, my dear Sono ma'am. It's lovely to be here with Metamorphosis again. I loved everything that Nahid brother had said. Nahid sir, everything you said, I will learn and I will take to my schools as well. And I will teach the principals that this principal does this, we need to do what he does. I want every principal to have a whiteboard in their office. That will work. So yeah, thank you so much. And this is what I love, Sono ma'am, is because on this, we all learn from each other. Small things that we will not even think about somebody else is doing, we will learn to try and do to make it better. So thank you for this and for having us all together. So I greet everyone in the universal greeting of peace with blessings. And today I'm talking about how to empower young minds. So at what ages and what do we do with these minds? And for me in that topic, as much as I love talking about empowerment and as much as I love talking about children, I'm talking today about the mind, that word. Because even if we go to a school and we push into their curriculum and say, you need to do this to help train these children, it will be on a piece of paper for the children, unless it is shifting their mind to want to grow. If you have the growth mindset, then you will want to learn how to empower yourself, even as a child. And most often, remember, this child is coming to a school in the early stages from a home. And in that home, they are with family, they're meeting some family friends, they're not really socializing with total outside. So they don't know anybody other than their safety zone people that they're comfortable with. So they don't know people otherwise. And when that happens, you almost trained or programmed in what your mind absorbs. But once you go into a school, even your teacher is somebody you've never met. The principal who is now going to control your school, you've never met. Some children maybe you know, but you don't know the other teachers in the school. So now It's not home. It's not family. What happens to the mind of this child then in early school days? This is why sometimes the children cry in the first few days and they become very clingy because I don't know this. I'm uncomfortable in this space. And that's because the mind is programmed to be comfortable only with certain people. That is your safety zone. Now we take this child and we say, no, this is your new safety zone. Be comfortable there too, and I'm going away. This child automatically needs to learn at that stage that I can adapt. I can adjust myself to my new space. It doesn't mean I have to become the new people, but I can adjust myself to be comfortable in the space. That is part of growing this child's mindset, to understand more, to become more, to understand. I come from a home. These are my beliefs. This is our system. This is what I know about respect, etc., in my home. I bring it to school. I learn all of these lovely things and concepts in school also that make me a better person or that I don't like also. But I'm free to go home and share this so that I grow my mind each time and every single day. And can you imagine if we start at that point to teach this child this growth mindset shift and make this child be in tune with who they are, still maintaining their cultural background, still maintaining the respect for everybody and everything, and they grow with that throughout their schooling career. What a beautiful human being with a growth mindset that would be to lead. Not just their home or their family, but to actually just lead themselves, lead their peers, lead in the corporate world even, maybe even lead a country, we don't know. But it starts with this mind. So I'm saying that the younger we start to change this mindset, the better the outcome will be for that child's life and people's lives. Because remember, these children, we are pruning now, we're grooming them now because they lead not tomorrow, they're leading already, but we're preparing them for being leaders tomorrow. And if we give them that preparation as the foundation, which is really good, and it's a base that we know we can also be comfortable with, then they're going to be fantastic leaders to us. Because in our old age, they're going to lead us, yes? So we need to be able to empower these young minds in this space of school. And this is why I'm very passionate about that. Because, for example, we know there's this Children's Health Week, Mental Health Week at the moment, right, until the 11th of February, which we are celebrating. And the theme for that we called is my voice matters. And why I'm bringing that up is because that theme alone is so important for children in the early developmental stages. Because when they learn at that point that your voice does matter, your feelings matter, your emotions matter, I want to hear you, then they would not become the bullies later on. They will not try and change everybody else all the time or themselves all the time. They will become respectable to themselves first. So their voice matters from then. So even though we're grooming them in our home before they enter school that first day, at the end of the day, they too need their voice to be heard. So when we growing them with that, then we too growing ourselves because then we learn from them. We're not closed-minded. We too are growing in our mindset because the child is growing in the proper mindset. So it's a win-win all round if we just adapt mindset shift positively. And I'm not going to take more time. I know there are more speakers, ma'am, but this is my gist of what I want to say.
You can take your time, ma'am. You can take your time. There is time, yeah.
I'm just really passionate to try and get this change in curriculums in the mind of a teacher, in the mind of the parent, in the mind of a guardian, because I really feel very passionately that if these children get that opportunity at a younger age, then we won't have so many of the problems we're facing in society now. Children that just disrespect each other, they disrespect their teachers, they disrespect their parents. The role of the parent and child is now almost reversed in some homes, where the parent is quiet and the child is dictating. It's this kind of shift. Nobody listens to anybody anymore. Some parents, mothers, are actually texting their child to come to eat supper. Your dinner is ready. Come now. I'll text you because I can't stream for you or call you. This is what is happening. And we ask ourselves why. There's lack of communication. There's lack of appreciation for each other. There's lack of love. There's lack of love to educate yourself now. Because children sometimes just feel, oh, you know what, there's a report card that's due, so I need to give my best. I have to go to school, get the best in the report card. But do they have the passion to learn? Do they have the passion to, I want to educate myself? And I say it because I place myself in that example. I am a lifelong, I think all of us are lifelong learners here. But I know that my teacher taught me how to love education. My teacher taught me how to love education, and my parents were also people who loved education. So when I would come home and I wanted to explore a subject, even though my mom or dad never knew the subject, they wanted to learn with me. That makes you holistically educated. It makes you feel I have a support structure at home and school. I love to learn new things. We're losing that in society. We're losing that even in a school, because the teachers nowadays are so overwhelmed. I have to meet curriculum. My stats have to be up to date. My files have to be sorted. I have to make sure things are done on this date, that we lose touch with the initial passion we had to teach this child. So now I walk into a classroom, I just make sure my time is spent, my stuff is ticked on my box, and I'm gone. It's not about how I want to love to teach these children. I want these children to love my subject. That is what's missing. And I'm saying that starts with that empowerment and the young stages. And when our children get that empowerment in the young stage and early stage of education, teachers themselves in the higher stages of education would love to teach those children, because those children would have at the early age learned how to respect education, how to respect my classroom, how to respect a book, how to respect my teacher, how to respect my desk, my pen, small things that matter, because it's taught and it's embedded in this child. Like how we programmed the child in a house before they came to school, they start at an early stage, even in a classroom, to get taught this empowerment of respect of certain things. And I'm saying that because that respect is part of being empowered. Being an empowered soul is not about, I'm going to tell everybody what to do, I'm going to bully people, I'm going to dictate. No, being empowered means I'm so in tune with myself, I can make clear decisions, I know what's right from wrong, I can keep learning certain things, I'm getting more in tune with who I am as I'm learning more. That's me, because I respect me and I respect those around me. So respect is part of empowerment. So when I'm talking about empowering that young mind, it's a whole lot of concepts to grow this young mind to become a being that is just holistically well and holistically respectable to society. We far too often judge. People judge. People, when I say that, I say it very openly, but honestly. Many people out there would look at somebody, and I see this very often, somebody with multiple awards and certificates and whatever, and they say that, okay, this person is the most respected person in society. Why? Why? Do you know the person, or do you just know of his or her things that are hanging on a wall somewhere? Do you know them personally? What have they done to help you? Oh no, I don't know, but this is not empowerment. Empowerment is you. What are you taking back from those multiple certificates and giving back to people? How are you changing somebody's life positively because of the knowledge you have gained? This is why I'm saying empowerment is when I'm so authentically me. We need to teach our children how to be authentic, how to love their true selves from the beginning. So they don't want to copy other people. They don't feel I need to compete with other people, because I'm empowered in who I am. So I'm not going to compete with everybody. Competition is comfortable, and if it's in a good manner. But when I have to compete for status and I have to compete for money and brand and then that competition is not healthy. That competition is going to be the downfall of this child. So to teach the child, excel and compete with yourself. So today you have 90%, you work harder to build yourself up to 95%. But I'm not going to tell this child you got 90%, but so-and-so has got 98%. I'm not happy with this. Why? It's your child's best to get the 90% and appreciate that, love that, and then push the child to compete with that result of his or her own, not the next child. That competition is healthy. So this is why I say again, it's about us as leaders now, the educators now. How are we changing this narrative that is existing, that is so negative and hurting in so many ways? And it does start. And it starts with these beautiful programs, Sona ma'am, where we can sit and we can discuss and we can talk and learn, like you said earlier, to learn to or unlearn what we learned and grow ourselves also, because we keep learning. And the more we learn, the more we can show our children it's okay to keep learning. It's okay to even not be okay. It's okay to make a mistake. Even if I'm live on air and I make a mistake, it's okay. We are all not perfect. So don't pretend to be somebody who's perfect. And that child will become, oh, then it's fine. I would love to do this. I would love to explore because I'm accepted for me, even with my flaw or my imperfection. That is how we're going to teach the small children to actually love a disabled child. That is how we teach that inclusivity, the appreciation of diversity. I don't have to be a specific faith to have this friend. I can actually respect somebody who is not my faith. So the base of what I'm saying is us as who we are now play a very big part in how we shift that narrative and mindset for our children. So those of us that are involved in the smaller educational groups, maybe we can try and inculcate private programs in these schools, involve parents in them, involve our children, help them to get to know. Once they like what this means, they might want to engage more. And then who knows, the government may say, well, look, we've got plenty of people who want to do this. We make it part of a curriculum. And then children would love to learn. And they will love to even unlearn what they've learned to make it better. And that's what empowering these children is about. Empowering their minds is about. So with that, I will leave my topic now. Sonal ma'am, thank you so much for the time. I'm so happy to see Sonal ma'am, Sonal set here with us also.
It was wonderful to listen to you, ma'am, because uh, we need to keep our mindsets clean. As you said, that your passion is first creating a healthy mindset for the educators, and that is the need of the hour now. Because unless we start creating healthy mindset in the minds of the educators, only then we can empower the younger generation. So when I was listening to you, my question to you is that, do you think, ma'am, that cultures that are happening in the family culture, whether they are academic, non-academic, or a kind of stability, instability, do you think this does create an impact in a young child's mind?
Yes, it plays a very big role in the mind of a child. And most often I have found that especially girl children, they seem to come from a home most often where other women or other girl children are not educated enough. So she's meant to go to school, yes, but only until a specific stage, and then she has to stop and then conform to what the norm is in their family. And there are children, girl children, who actually went beyond that. So I'm not encouraging a child to go against a family norm or a family standard or even a cultural norm. But here's what happened to two of them. Well, I'll give you one example of one. So the family had like 3 or 4 houses in one road. This is the child, right? And so she finished off and she wanted to keep going until she finished her grade 12. And then she wanted to study further. And it was not heard of. And everybody started to shun her mom and dad who were wanting her to do it because they could see she had a passion for it. They could see she was excelling. And even though it was new for them, somehow they felt if she was happy, then let's try. She's not doing anything wrong. So they were breaking not culture, they were just breaking a tradition that they thought was tradition. And they went ahead and they said yes. They supported her. She still went, and it became the negative talk of the street. And they became excluded because of their choice to support her to become who she wanted to be. So fast forward 6 years from her leaving and them being disregarded. She then graduates. And then a year or two after that, she graduates further and she's now doctor, medical doctor. And her goal is she goes back to the same village where she was to open a practice there to heal people she always saw that were sick as she was growing up. Now, those same people who shunned her family, excluded her family, disrespected her parents' decision to make her study, now they are the proudest people to go around and say, I know her from the time she was a little girl. She grew up in front of me. Now look, she's a doctor. She has this hospital. Those same people who didn't like that uncomfortable situation now realize the worth of it. Why am I giving you this long example as an answer? Is because therein lies the answer. Sometimes you have to take that little bit of discomfort and just lead by example. And when they see the fruition of your example, then that culture and ethic actually conforms. The respect still is maintained because the ultimate result was never to be disrespectful in the first place. So it's all about, again, the mindset. We can assume certain things and that assumption can go wrong. And then we learn from that mistake and we say, okay, it's not so bad. So it can influence you. But again, it's about where you come from, your mind, you grow, you develop.
Wonderful. Thank you. I think Shraddha is over here. Oh, Shraddha, the question that you had before we went live, here's your answer there in Marine Ma'am's chalk. Did you find your answer in Marine Ma'am's chalk? The doubt that you were having? That's why I put forward the question to Marine Ma'am in an indirect way, so that you can find your answer in it. Shraddha, are you there? She's not there. So anyone who would like to share anything? Meenakshi ma'am, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there. I'm listening to
Do you
these
want to
wonderful
share anything?
talks. Ma'am, I strongly feel that it is not only the child, we are always targeting the child. Child is really at a very, very small, in nascent stage, and we can mold the child. What to do about really the teachers and the parents? Because they
Yeah.
come with baggage, whether it is
Yes.
teachers, whether it is parents. I recently had a parent workshop, and after everything went very well and smoothly. And you know what? I made them speak. And the ladies were definitely agreeing to this one point that in that my time, we are not ready to look at our child. We send our child away. And then I said, away with whom? You are sending your child away with your workers or nannies or ayahs because it's a very affluent school where I went, right? But they will not send the child to the grandparents. I said, now what is this? You are actually destroying the growth of the child.
Definitely.
So it is so intertwined, and we really need to respect this, whether it is any culture, any norm, all it has been our legacy, and we have inherited. And people who have set these things, they had experience much before us. So
Definitely.
problem here is that we have disregarded all experiences which were healthy, and now
Yes.
we are trying to experiment with the child every new day. So the child is at a loss that by the time I was in kindergarten, my teachers were so nice and kind. And suddenly there is a pressure, only marks, homework, marks, homework, marks, homework.
Yes.
And because the human quality has fallen so badly, we are always hollering the teachers. Where is your lesson plan? Where is this? Where is this? That means we are only looking at that black and white
Academic
paper
part.
with
Yes.
certain words which are fulfilling that, okay, this teacher has conformed to the Bloom's level 3 or 2 or whatever, and her lesson plan is the best. And we give adulation in the assembly, and then she takes it that I'm the best teacher. Where exactly her children are? Are we having the alumni connect when the children leave the schools?
Exactly.
What exactly they are doing? If there is a dropout rate, why these children are dropping out? Why a particular child in my school is not feeling comfortable? Why only one teacher is very good with the students? There can be so many questions, but
Yeah.
definitely it is only the schools who can bring the change and the educators who can bring the change, no one else. I think, like they say, I mean, it's my take, it can be rejected, but I want to, because Sonal ma'am has given me permission to speak. Like they say that, oh, it's a compulsory army training for getting into the discipline. No, every mother and every teacher must have a compulsory training how to teach first from the heart, because teaching is
Yes.
dil se, not dimag se.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. I agree.
I always believe this, and I always stress mothers should also be given the training before the child gets enrolled in a play school or any other new section in between, because it is the mother who is going to influence the child in a very healthy way. But if the mothers are not given that perfect track to train the mind in a very healthy way so that she is on par as the child is growing, she won't be able to bring a change. And she cannot expect changes overnight from the child. When you yourself are not able to train your mind and accept challenging situations in a healthy way, don't expect from the child overnight. A child is not a abracadabra, giri giri shoo aur ho gaya. So it
Yes.
is,
No, so,
yeah,
Sonal ma'am, exactly what you were saying now. I just want to
yeah,
say one other point. When we're talking about the mother, it is so important. I agree with I can't say the name. Please forgive me, Ma. I really loved everything you had said, but I cannot pronounce your name, and I don't want to disrespect you. But I love everything ma'am had said now, and I agree with that. So even if Sonal ma'am disagrees, I still agree. But I'm saying a mother is not just a mother. She's still that woman who's become a
exactly,
mother. And
definitely,
as that woman, all that's happened now is her role has altered and added.
diversified, yes,
So, as the mother, you still have an onus or an obligation to keep learning yourself, developing yourself. Because now, after you've had this child, there are hormonal changes with you, which are going to
definitely,
affect your mental capacity, which is going to affect your body capacity. And if you are not in tune with how you react with those things, then your balance is going to be way off. Your reaction to your child is going to be way off. And we all know that the child is not going to listen to words. The child
definitely,
listens to your action
yes,
as the mother. So, how you're reacting to everybody around you, how your mood swings are, how you acting is what the child is learning, not your words. So, as that woman and mother, you have to understand how key your role is to this child.
Perfect,
exactly,
ma'am.
dear,
Perfect.
exactly. It's they, as they say, no, the mother is the mirror for the child. A child is going to
Ye-
see the reflection of himself in the mother, and the mother has to. I won't say that you need to be. Just be normal. Just be as usual. You don't need to try to be. You have to be what you are. Even if you are with your imperfections, let your child see how you train your imperfections and how you adapt to them. No one is perfect. No one is born with
True.
100%. Yeah, I am perfect, 100 out of 100. We are all learning from each other how to accept and adapt and adopt this person. Like, for example, I'm learning from Marine ma'am. I'm learning from Meenakshi ma'am. We are all learning from each other. So, nobody can be perfect. But here we are to create a change as mothers, as educators, and definitely the first thing, mother and a mother who is an educator in a class. So for her, the 2 children and the 40 children in the house have to be equal. You cannot say that they are not my kids, I am not bothered. No, you are the main pillar for the 40 kids. They are going to see you. And your children are going to see you, how you are behaving as an educator for the 40 kids. So your children should not have a double perception. My mom is here, something else, and something else in front of the 40 children in the school. So it's a dual play. So the mother has to just be as it is. Whatever you are at home, try to be the same, but be firm in the school because there is more discipline is required.
Yes.
So wonderful discussion, and definitely as we are here creating milestone learning for educators, for children of young learners, and education and beyond is definitely coming forward with a change in the mindsets of educators. And over to the last round of the session before we wind up. On the other hand, the challenges faced by lifelong education are promoting a faster transition from the bench to the world of work, facilitating re-entry into the labor market and focusing on continuous improvement of skills. These challenges also indicate to us that the educational strategy will be personalized, flexible, that is oriented towards the individual, but also towards cooperation. Existing knowledge becomes obsolete faster and faster, and the amount of new knowledge is constantly increasing. Every session gives us some learning, every session gives us some new mindset adaptation as we are here to gain more knowledge. And thank you to Marine ma'am, to all the speakers who made it today, to the participants who attended the whole session. And over to the end of the session. Thank you so much, Marine ma'am, for saying thank you. Good night. Thank you, Meenakshi ma'am, for being there. Thank you so much.